What's going on, guys? Welcome back to our MaxShine USA channel. We have another special episode of Detailers Den. Today we got Carlos from Blacklisted Auto Detailing, and of course we got Marcos.
Hi, how are you guys? I hope you're doing great this week. And well, it's amazing to having you here, Carlos.
No, thank you, Marcos. Josh, I appreciate being here.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course.
We just started talking before doing this video, and it's really interesting how you start doing business. And well, I'll like you. This talk is gonna be about starting a detailer business, some advices, some experiences also. And we would love if you can comment your experience or any advice that you want to give, because the thing about these detailers then is to share experiences, advices, and grow this detailers community. Because as we talk, every detailer has their own way to do things, but we just want to give like a way to get into the results that they want. But of course, at the end, it's gonna be their own way to do it, right?
And we love hearing everyone's stories.
No, of course. Well, I've been in the automotive industry for over 15 years. I've worked as a mechanic, went to school for that, worked at dealerships, Mercedes, Chrysler, Ford, and I also love classic cars. So my love for classic cars started when I was 14. So I did restoration on classic cars for about like 10 years also. One of the best things ever.
Do you do paint over there also, or?
That's the only thing I didn't do. I actually grew up with my neighbor, if I could say, they're CMH Auto Body out in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
and I would ask his dad to let me go work with him to teach me how to sand cars and stuff like that.
Okay.
At an early age. So having all that experience, I was in a office setting and I was like, I miss the outside.
Yeah.
And I had gotten a job as a mechanic with one of my friend's dads, and I was like, you know what? Let me do detailing. Started doing it on the side, just weekends.
Yeah.
Then it got to the point where I had so many bookings that I was like, hey, maybe there's something out there. So I had exited that office job and I had a little bit of money left over. So I told myself, if I go on Facebook and I find like someone that has a whole setup, I'm gonna give my 2 weeks notice. So on my lunch, I was out in Facebook and I found somebody out in Redlands
Okay.
that had a trailer that had everything. And I was like, okay, I got a Jeep, I have a 4x4, I could pull it.
Yeah.
Went up to go see it, cost me $1,200.
That's not bad at all for a setup.
No. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was really, really important, because one of the biggest things that I was doing was trying to save up, trying to get equipment enough to be able to go on my own. Because I used to carry around an electric pressure washer.
Yeah.
I used to tell people I need to connect to your water and your electricity.
Yeah.
And people were still calling me for that, But when I found that trailer, sure enough, next day I told my boss, hey, sorry, I'm leaving. The crazy thing about it was when that was happening, when I got my trailer, we were justifiably gonna go to a rave 2 weeks after that. Then they started with the lockdown.
Oh.
And I was like, me thinking I knew everything, I was like, yeah, it's only gonna be a few days.
Yeah, like everyone.
Yeah, it was unheard of, man. Everybody was like, it's going to be good. It's going to pass.
I thought it was gonna be 15 days at most.
Me too.
That's what they
Me
said,
too.
huh?
Yeah.
And my expertise supposedly was that I had worked at Kaiser for another 10 years and UCLA too. So I was like, I know how it works. Clearly I didn't,
Yeah.
And sure enough, they canceled the rave. They started closing down a lot of things. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But that's actually what helped my business, because it was touchless transactions. All they had to do was leave the keys outside. I pull up with my trailer, get it done. And, having the equipment to sanitize from that trailer, the interior where you're mostly at, steaming and everything, that helped a lot.
Okay, so sorry if I interrupt you, but in here I have two things and two really good advices that you just give us. And one is the first one that you did to get a job. So the first thing that you said is you just went and asked for the opportunity.
That's right.
So I think that's the first step that anyone needs to do for detailing or anything other. Like if they want to start working or start a business or anything.
It's like getting over that hump, huh? Like that
Uh-huh.
initial.
Yeah, like just go for it. Just go and ask. If you want to detail, you can go with a guy that he fixes cars. Then you can say, hey, I can wash your cars. Or I can start detailing your cars. Or take that advantage and take that opportunity. It's a really great advice that you give it us just with your experience.
Yeah, it is.
And the second one, you just told us like it was a lockdown, right? And you thought that it was gonna last like a couple days, couple weeks. But the thing is that you take the opportunity in this thing that seems that doesn't have like a good look or it's a different experience. So you didn't give up and you continue adapting with the circumstances, right? So I think that's really, really important.
Yeah, a big misconception is that everybody says, and I got told this the same way, why do you want to be a detailer? There's hundreds of detailers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is, you know,
But
that's why
there
we
are
have
dozens of cars.
exactly. You have a household that has 6 or 7 cars, like that's fine. There's enough cars. If we lined up all the detailers maybe within a 10-mile radius and said, okay, you take this block, you take this block, you take this block, we'll still have more than enough.
Yeah, of course.
More than enough.
Yeah, and that's something that we have been talking with detailers. Detailers, they are not competition, they are teams. Because there's so many cars, and I think the big issue right now is that every year there are more cars than the freeways and everything can manage, right? So the big issue is that there's more job for detailers.
Yeah.
So creating the detailers community, you may have like 3 jobs in one day, and you're not gonna be able to go to all of them because they have the same schedule. So you're gonna be able to call a friend, a detailer, hey, I'm not gonna be able to go there, but I will love if you can go there because I know your work, I like your work, and if I'm not there, I'd like you to represent my detailing. So I'm gonna feel comfortable to do to recommend you, right? And I think that's the best way about detailing. It can be a great community, and there's there's work for everyone. It's amazing how many cars there are right now.
And you know what? I actually had that happen. You know, using Instagram and social media, you get to connect with a lot of people that you haven't met yet. But it just so happened that this guy started following me. His Instagram, I think, is nothing but detailing. And he called me up one day. He's like, hey, you're in the Valley, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I got a client that's over there. He's like, I can't get to them. Can you please go? And yeah, and I was like, well, what? He's like, charge him your rates. He's like, don't worry about it. Just, that's your job. Just, you know, let's work like that. And I was surprised too, you know, not that I was expecting anything bad, but I was like, hey, you know, this could turn into something, you know? So building a network with the people around you is important too. Body shops, you could even go and tell them, hey, you know what? This is what I do. If you guys ever need anybody, you know, I'm here. That also helps, you know?
Yeah. Also, the network it can be with detailers or it can be with these guys that fix glass and everything. You know, people that fix some scratches, well, big scratches or like bumps in your cars.
Yeah.
That's a network that you can do because you can go and you can give job to some restoration guy that you know that he makes a good job because eventually what one guy that care about their car is they want to look as new or better than you, right?
Yeah, especially when you're dealing with clients that have luxury cars. I have a amazing client in Hollywood. He had a Bentley Continental GT Le Mans edition, which is a very rare one, and he recently got a Rolls Royce, a Dawn, and we have a Connect that does paintless dent and also does like little chip stuff and things like that. So called him up. Hey, I have a client down here. He came all the way from Irvine to go do that guy's car. We also have a wheel repair. tint, and I believe, yeah, those are it. I mean, for detailers, that's a good network
That's
to
a
have.
good network,
perfect.
bro. Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were talking about the Bentleys, and I have one thing in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever screwed up one car?
So, I had the privilege, and I'm gonna give
Screw
you a
up.
little. I'm gonna give you a little backstory.
Okay.
Through Instagram, I found a gentleman by the name of Henry over at SoCal Auto Detail Center down in Hollywood. I mean, I'm sorry, down in San Diego.
Okay.
Exotic cars all over the page. So I'm not shy.
Yeah.
So I hit him up one day. Hey, if I'm ever in San Diego, can I go? Talk to you, ask you questions. He's like, yeah, sure. Puerto Rican guy. Okay, I didn't know it was Puerto Rican until I got there. Point of the story is I went to go talk to him. He was amazing with me. He took me under his wing, and I pretty much was going down to San Diego for a whole year, training under him. We have a client that's up here in Huntington Beach that buys and sells a lot of cars.
Okay.
So we did a ceramic coating on Ghost, Rolls-Royce.
Okay.
Ghost.
Nice.
Whoa.
Beautiful car.
Yeah.
And if he's watching this, Adrian, I love you. Because when I was polishing, I don't know what happened, if I looked away or something, but I was right on the gas cap. Something caught, and it took the gas cap and it flew right off the car. And the first thing that I was like, oh my God, I was like, that's it. I'm done with Henry. I was like, he's going to fire me. I was like, I'm done with Adrian. I was like, how much does a gas cap cost for a Rolls Royce? I was going, oh my God. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, it doesn't look that bad. It's not scratched. And I look over at Henry and Henry's like, what are you doing? He's from New York too. So he got that. What are you doing? And I was like, dude, the gas cap just flew up. He's like, do you see me stressing out? I was like, no.
Wow.
He's like, then don't. He's like, relax.
You get lucky.
I got lucky, yeah, because I'm telling you, Adrian was such a great person. He's like, Adrian. He's like, yeah. So I go by Cal also. He's like, Cal's polishing your Rolls Royce and the gas cap flew off. He's like, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. And I didn't hear nothing. I was like, what did he say? He's like, he said it's cool. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh my God. So that was one of my biggest scares that I've had.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm glad being upfront with the customer immediately is the best thing that you can do, because if you try and hide it or something and then a week comes by and then they're like, hey, what is this? You're like, So honesty is the best policy.
They lose that trust, and then
Exactly.
customers that they would have brought you.
Exactly. And we get scared, as I guess the independent contractors that we are, to lose that job.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we don't see it from their perspective as, hey, you know what? He's trustworthy because he even told me something that could have potentially fired him.
Yeah.
But I respect that a lot more.
No, I mean,
You know?
you're saying that, okay, I know that this happened and I'm going to fix it. Or I'm
Exactly.
going to figure out how. So how does that get fixed? Do you know?
Well, thankfully, that it wasn't too much. We actually snapped the cap back on. So thankfully it was just that.
Yeah.
The only other bad time that I had was I had a client where my canopy went up, because of air, and it fell on his car, so it chipped a few of the chipped and dent.
Yeah.
So again, straight out, he's one of my friends, great friend Andres, and I told him, hey, this is what happened. I was like, don't worry. I was like, I'll pay for it, and you got to own up to it.
Yeah.
That's
So yeah.
So now do you put sandbags to your canopy or not?
I do. I strap. I hold on to a bunch of things. I was like, I'll strap it to my van, to the wall, wherever I can.
Wow.
But yeah,
Well,
so
experience gives you knowledge, right?
yeah, it does. It does. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And okay, so you said you started detailing, but how was your first detailing? What do you use when you start detailing?
Yeah. So I used again, the first thing when you're starting off is you don't want to spend too much money because you don't have it, right? So I was using a polisher that was a torque polisher, very small. It was like a 15 millimeter DA.
You started detailing polishing?
Yeah. So it's because I felt the thing that scares me the most, that's what I need to go do first, because I just want nothing getting in the way. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Rolls Royce gas caps, not a problem anymore. So, but yeah, just starting off with little basic tools, a polisher, all-in-one polisher, compound, made it easier for me, you know, because there's a lot of variations, a lot of things, and just the right towels.
But how do you manage to get a polisher like for your first job? How do you knew how to manage the polisher?
So the most important thing when you're starting off
Uh-huh.
is, well, the most important thing when owning a business is having leads, people that can be potential customers.
Yeah.
When you're starting, you have a whole phone book of people that you know, friends and family.
Yeah.
And that is the best place to start, because they trust you, they know you, and if they care about you, they see that you're starting a business, so they want to support.
Yeah.
So everything started with friends and family.
Of course.
Those cars, I could polishing my dad's car, no problem. You know?
Okay.
We can start there and then slowly branch out to other people. And then the good thing is that when you do a great job for the people that are around you, that's when the referrals come.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
how was your first experience with a polisher? You just took the polisher and you say, I'm gonna do it here. That's it.
thankfully, we live in the era of YouTube.
Yeah,
so
videos, right?
YouTube University, that's where I started, you know.
Okay.
And just with basic search queries, you know.
What's
just
different what you saw on YouTube with your experience using first the machine?
Yes, it was a little different. The only thing is that I had a little bit of experience because I had been going to my friend's body shop ever since I was 14. So I saw what burnt paint looked like.
Yeah.
I saw what holograms looked like. I just didn't know how they were made.
When you did sanding, you did it with the polisher also, or?
Well, no, I did hand sanding, and usually what I would do is I would sand the whole car before it goes to paint.
Okay.
I never finished it, but now I work with them to finish the cars after.
Wow.
And it's kind of like a full circle thing.
Yeah.
You know, so now I'm able to do stuff. But yeah, I mean, most of the time, what I like, and I think you were interviewing Ivan at SEMA, right, from DIY, and he makes a good point. You know, at the end of the day, same chemicals, same type of machine. You know, it's just how you do it, and you're not gonna know until you try it.
Exactly.
You know, so I was like, okay, let me try it. And what I learned every day I would go home, watch at least an hour of stuff. Doesn't matter. Okay. Because that was my training. You know, and then after that, I got enough money to get training at, like, you know, how you guys do training and stuff like that. I did one of those. And then I would compare what I learned over there to over here, and I was like, okay, let's just mix it, because there's no one specific way.
Yeah.
And that's important. If you
That's
can
so
grab
important.
from a lot.
There's tons of ways to do things.
Yeah.
The important thing is the results, right?
Exactly.
So I always believe that you get your knowledge from here, training, YouTube, but at the end you need to take the machine. You need to do your own thing, and then you're gonna have your own process. Having the knowledge, what you remember YouTube, what you remember from your training, and what you're learning right now, taking the machine or washing your car, you're gonna start having your own way, and then you're gonna be able to share it. Because, well, if you want, right? Because again, we love detailing community. Creating this community, I think, is sharing knowledge, sharing help, and sharing leads, and creating that network. You know?
And there's one pro tip that I'm gonna give exclusively here on MaxShine, because I haven't heard this anywhere else. There's a lot of videos that talk about how strong clear coats are now, where you could practically sit the machine on it and you won't burn the paint. And that's great, because there's a lot of videos showing that. So you got to be really doing something dumb to burn the paint. But the one pro tip is never angle a dual action polisher. Because you could sit on it flat for a long time and not have the paint burn, but the minute you angle it, it starts touching the backing plate. If you've created a lot of heat on the sponge, it compresses a lot more, and that's when you can damage a vehicle. So pro tip, do not tilt the machine unless you're using a rotary and you're supposed to tilt it that specific way because of the sponge or anything. Do not tilt a dual action like that.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Now you know.
Cool, yeah, because
you can't burn the paint, but you can damage the paint.
exactly. A lot of people, well, first they're afraid of burning the paint.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And well, dual action helps a lot to not burn the paint because the movement that it's giving.
Yeah.
But that's a real good tip.
Yeah.
There's a way that you can avoid to mess up with any paint.
Exactly.
And what else do you think it's really important to someone to have to start their detailing business?
Yeah. Try and condense the amount of things that you have starting off.
Okay.
Because you don't need a lot of things. If you're doing it from your house, all you need is an electric pressure washer. Anything over 1.8 gallons per minute, 1.8 GPM.
Okay.
Because I had one that was 1.5. I bought a foam cannon. There was no foam.
Oh.
Only to find out that you needed to have a 1.8 or above, 1.8 or 2.0.
Yeah.
Again, if you're doing it from home, you need a filter. If you don't have anything crazy, there's RV filters that you could buy that are probably like $40 connected in line with the hose. Get it on the pressure washer.
Okay.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to pH neutral soap.
Yeah.
Usually any soap that's pink is safe on anything. Matte finishes, gloss finishes, PPF, ceramic coated cars, everything. You cannot go wrong.
No.
Knowing the difference between pH balanced soap and a more aggressive type soap, if you're needing to do decontamination or anything. And then just your towels. Towels are what's gonna scratch your car if you don't do it correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all those swirl marks, well, I'm gonna add one thing: towels with the proper technique, because those swirl marks are caused by dirty towels, but you going in a circular motion because your hand gets tired.
No, we do that because Karate Kid showed that.
Oh my! I always quote that, and that is so correct because I was thinking on the way over here. Everybody gets it that wax on, wax off. That's only when you're removing wax, not when you're drying or anything like that. When you're drying or doing anything else, straight motions.
Yeah.
All the time. Straight motions, and fold your towel up so you don't have so much pressure. Because I've seen even a towel just, oh, let me get that off. And you do that, great, scratched.
Yeah, of course.
You know, so pressure washer, filter, pH neutral soap, proper towels. You're ready to go.
What about mitts? Do you use mitts, or
I do use
do you think it's necessary or not?
Yeah.
Like to start?
No, well, mitts you're talking about like wash mitts or clay mitts?
Wash mitts.
Yeah, wash mitts. I love them because it's just it's a lot better. There's a lot more cushion. They're made for that. You know, I try to use it's an extension stick with a round pad. And I saw that as I go like this, I started to have pain on my shoulder.
Really?
So you need to be able
that's
to
something,
not injure yourself before you even start.
You know something? That's something that people don't show a lot in their videos in YouTube.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's really easy, like it's like so relaxing. I get that issue, well, myself.
Yeah.
I saw that so relaxing, like I want to take my time. And it's true, you take your own time.
Yeah.
And it's relaxing, but with time it's tired. And positions, they can be tired. Like if you spend enough time cleaning the wheels, like detailing the wheels, you're gonna hurt maybe your back if you don't have the correct position. Or if you don't have the correct tools or anything. Because I think, well, I heard about a lot of detailers that they have back pain.
Yeah.
Or shoulder pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're doing a job that requires like specific movements for a prolonged time, right? Even with the polish, like you're taking the polisher, and at the beginning it's really easy and calm, but with finish one car to car.
Yeah. When I first started, that's how it was. You know, you're working all day, so your body's hot.
Yeah.
And then you get home and you relax and you start to cool down, and then you get up and you're stiff.
Yeah.
So you have to find ways that are comfortable for what you're doing, and don't be scared of laying down if you have to for certain things, you know?
Exactly. So I'm just saying this because I don't want people to get like demotivated
Yeah.
when they feel pain.
Yeah.
Because it's not such like a big thing. It's your body's gonna get used to it.
Yeah.
But you just need to know correct ways to
Yeah.
do things. And if something is hurting, maybe you need to change
Yeah.
your position or there's a lot of different. If we go to paints and everything, there's a lot of different issues, right?
Yeah.
But maybe you will need a special tool, or you need like to sit down or to knee yourself. I don't know.
Stretch.
Yes.
Stretch.
Stretch.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to do yoga.
Yeah.
I do yoga. I started, because of the same reason. And most importantly, make sure you're having fun when you do it.
Yeah,
Because
don't ever like stress yourself out.
yeah, when you do that, I used to listen to just music when I was polishing. But now because I want the business to, scale up and get better, I'll listen to business podcasts and stuff like that. So my job is so automatic now
Yeah.
that I can focus more on what I'm listening to because I've already put the techniques in motion.
I got you.
And that's something that's important for a detailer if they're starting. Do the same thing over and over and over.
Repetition.
Because the more you do that,
Mhm.
the quicker you'll get, number one, but the more attention to detail you'll see.
Yeah.
And don't be scared to ask the client, hey, have you ever had a mobile detailer before? Because a lot of times they have, is there something that they missed? So number one, you're asking the customer, and if
question.
they tell
Yeah.
you, you get it, and you're like, oh my God, I'm glad somebody asked me that, and that's very important. Talking to your customer, getting a rapport, whether they're family or not, doesn't matter. Just ask the right questions.
Okay, now that you're saying this, how do you prepare for a job? How do you approach the client? How do you, well, do the detailing, and what do you do after doing the detailing?
So the first call that I ever got when I first did my website, because I think that's something that's very important. It helps show a little bit more professionality.
No, website.
100%.
Okay.
He was a supervisor from the security team at Forest Lawn Cemetery. And I was like, wow. So, I was like, how'd you find me? He's like, oh, I saw your website and everything. If you do one car and I like it, I'm going to send you to all the ones that are here.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, okay. So having the right tools is the most important thing, because one thing that gets me frustrated is not having something. So again, if you're finally fully mobile,
Yeah.
I went with him when I still had my electric pressure washer and how to connect to his water and electricity. So having all that, being organized is something that's important, because if you get there and you're like, wait, where'd I leave that thing? Or, I don't know,
frustrate
but you
yourself.
get there and you
Yeah.
just open up your rig and it's like everything's right there. They'll see it and they'll be like,
Yeah.
wow.
It's such presentation, but also we were talking organize it is time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Being organized
Yeah.
is having time, and I think it's a really good presentation to the client.
Yeah.
What else?
Most importantly, set the customer's expectations before you start.
Yeah.
Okay, do a walk around on the car, point out things here and there. If they have a stain that's inside, be like, hey, for the basic wash that we're doing, this stain's not going to be able to come out. But, we'll see what happens, because that's a big thing. Because if you try and do the car and then they'll be like, hey, why don't you remove this stain? And it's like, hey, well, we didn't talk about that. He's like, well, you didn't either.
Yeah. You have to be clear, and you have to be real with the expectations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they will expect their car like new,
Yeah.
even if they just ask for a regular wash,
Exactly. And that's why. So the proper tools, being organized, set the customer's expectations before you start.
Yeah.
And then when you start, have a procedure that you do all the time. Have a checklist, an internal checklist for yourself. Okay, I did the wheels, I did the door jambs, I did this, I did that. And then once you're done with it, do a walk around. What I like doing is I like taking video of the car that I do, because sometimes on the screen you can see things that your eye can't.
Oh, okay.
Certain
good
glare
advice.
or something, so, and it also helps as insurance.
Yeah.
Because if you have the whole car documented and they tell you, hey, there's this giant scratch right here, you did that. I'm sorry, here's a video.
Yeah, it's right
Was
here.
not me. Where did you go? I can help you out with that.
Yeah.
Again, don't take it personal. Pretend you're them. You want someone to take care of it. So I can help. I have a connection. I have a network that does scratch repair.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
good.
Then once you do that, you do the walk around. You give them you tell them it's done. Make sure you give the keys back.
Have you ever
Because
forgot to do that?
I have done that. I had a client, family friend in Pasadena, was already up in Van Nuys. Took me an hour to get there in traffic, and she called me. She's like, "Hey, we can't find the key," and I was like,
Oh,
"It's in my pocket." And she's like, "Thankfully, I have the greatest clients in the world."
yeah.
You're getting
She's like, "We have a spare." I know, right? And these are all things that I can tell you guys not to do,
Yeah.
so that we don't go through that. But yeah,
Wow.
it's, give them back the keys, let them know how's everything. And if you can, if you have a Yelp listing or anything, just let them know. You know, I'd appreciate it if you would, you know, write a review, or even if you had some referrals.
Do you do like sales after you do the detailing? Like tell them, okay, I can come by like every 2 weeks, every month, or you can take care of your car this way, and if you want something bigger, I can come here, or how
Yeah.
do you do that?
So for me, there's actually a pre-screening process that I do when I talk to them.
Okay.
I ask them what they want. If they're asking for just a basic wash, I ask them when was the last time you waxed your vehicle. If it's anywhere over 4 months, I tell them then I would strongly recommend that you do that because it will help maintenance moving forward.
Yeah.
If they tell me something like, "Oh, I haven't done anything to this car in about 2 years," or anything like that,
Yeah.
then I'll tell them, "Okay, what's your budget?"
Uh-huh.
Because what I would recommend at this point would be a full polish for the vehicle.
Yeah.
And then I also have like a 3-month program where they could buy pretty much 6 washes at a discounted price
Oh.
if they want to set that up. So that's been good. It's hit or miss.
Yeah.
But yeah, you always got to let them know that, you know, this is not the last time you're going to see me.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell them, my number is there. Feel free to call me anytime.
Yeah.
If you see a stain, call me right up. Because sometimes even removing a stain can be done incorrectly.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I always pre-screen them. And even then, you know, sometimes they're hesitant over the phone. So we just schedule a basic wash. And I'll just remind them, hey, remember, you know, I do have that 3-month program. If not, let me know if you want to come back, you know, in a month or two.
Yeah.
And schedule them right there.
Yeah,
Schedule
I think that's
them right there.
close the deal right there, right?
Yeah.
Like after you finish,
Because-
you're gonna close the other other watch.
Or just let them know, you know, hey, I'm gonna reach back in about a month. Either I'll send you an email or a text, and I'll just remind them of the conversation.
Okay.
And most of the time, everybody's running around with their life, and they're like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just put in their head real quick. Like, oh,
Exactly.
I do want my wash, right?
Yeah, and usually when that happens, that's when they go for the program.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, okay, I know he's gonna come,
Yeah.
so let's just set it up every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'll just call, confirm the hours. Are we still good for today?
Yeah.
They'll be like, yeah, and we'll just move forward.
It's like a sense of like reliability, huh?
It is. It is. And you know, it's funny because they say a lot of times, you know, your clients become your friends.
Yeah.
And sure enough, 100% with all the
Especially when you
clients
do
that
a
I have.
good job.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
that's,
and
again,
you keep that confidence in them, right?
Yeah.
Like that they trust in you.
Because one of the biggest problems that we have as mobile detailers is that somebody along the way, maybe inexperienced, has done something incorrectly that has really damaged the car. So now they think everybody's like that.
Yeah.
So when you do it correctly and you show them, they're like, yeah, I'm keeping this one.
Yeah.
I had one client that saw me working down in Santa Monica, and I was like 20 feet away from the car, and I was going like this and everything. I was even on the floor because I did a wax, so I wanted to make sure nothing was on there. From across the street, she screamed at me. She's like, "Are you a detailer?"
Yeah.
And
No,
I was
I'm
like,
washing cars.
"Yeah." She's like, "You have attention to details." She's like, "I don't care what you cost. I'm hiring you because
Wow.
I had a bad experience with one, and when I saw you do that, I know that you double check your work."
Yeah.
She's been my client ever
Wow.
since. For about a year and a half now.
Nice.
Really?
So
Wow.
it's important, man. You never know who's watching you, so you have to do
Yeah.
things correctly the right way.
That's something really important.
Yeah.
When you're doing your job and you know that the owner maybe is not watching, you don't have to lose your professionalism. That's a word?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
there you
that's
go.
right.
Just because you're not being
So
watched.
you don't have to lose that because
Yeah.
everybody's watching, or even he's watching in the camera or in the window or anything.
Yeah.
So you always have to be professional while you're doing your job.
I even pay attention myself. If I see
Yeah.
a detailer, like I'll be like, oh, you know, what are they up to?
And see, and that's the time. Another pro tip is when we have the ability to educate our client.
Yeah.
Okay, because number one, terminology is a little weird. They'll say, "Let me have a mini detail." Then
What?
when I quote them, oh, okay, that's $700. What?
What?
All I wanted it was a wash. I was like, oh, then you should have said wash.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I've created a little PDF of terminology on my Instagram that people could download and stuff like that. But it's really important because there's a lot of people that don't like working with people looking at them, right? And I always dreamt that when I have my shop, every bay is gonna have a glass window so that everybody could see.
Yeah.
And the
cool.
best thing to do as a detailer is narrate what you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I see you right there. Yeah, so I just finished doing this. This is what I'm doing right now. It's really good to do this because these are spots that get missed. You know, if you have that, again, if I tell you that, you're like, ah, I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
Walk back.
Yeah.
You know, and you can just keep going. So it's really important to take the
Totally agree.
opportunities that the client gives you
Yeah.
to work with them even more.
That's great.
That is good.
Carlos, I think we have like everything. Well, we can continue this talk for a long
Always.
time, and I hope we repeat these podcast or this talk.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do it in Spanish.
I'd
Please
love
comment
that.
if you want it in Spanish, like
love
talk in
that.
Spanish.
Yeah.
We want also to get this community like be bilingual. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
We need it. There's a lot of Latinos out there with
I
small
want to
businesses.
speak Spanish, please.
Yeah,
But okay, Carlos, anything that you want to say, please mention your social media.
Yeah. My Instagram is blacklisted_@auto detailing.
Okay.
I have a YouTube channel, same thing, blacklisted_auto detailing Cal, CAL. Facebook, same thing.
Where are you based out of?
I'm based out of Van Nuys, but I handle Glendale, San Fernando Valley, and greater Los Angeles area. So,
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well-
But I would drive pretty far. I used to come down to OC and everything. So
Okay.
yeah,
We're gonna put your information also
Yeah.
here in this video.
Yeah.
So
Thank
they're
you.
gonna be
Yeah.
looking at
Click
maybe
down
here.
below.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you have that. Anything else that you want to say? Any
Um,
advice, like final advice?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're wanting to start, you're detailing, the most important thing that you need after you have all your equipment is customers. So talk to people, make small talk. Don't be scared of coming up to people at, a parking lot and just let them know, like, hey, if you ever want something, offer it nicely. Don't be like, yeah, I do detailing, $500. I'll give you a cut right now. Just let them know. Here's my business card. Let me know if you ever have any questions.
Don't go and just tell. I just detailed your car, so give me money.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
important,
pretty
right?
bad. You could damage it. So yeah, just don't be scared.
Yeah.
Trust in yourself, most importantly. Don't be scared of getting in front of the camera because people want to see who they're dealing with. So
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
100%
Carlos,
does that trust.
Yeah.
this was really nice.
I
And
appreciate it.
guys,
Thank you guys.
We'll see you in the next Detailers Den.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Please comment, like, subscribe, follow him, like, subscribe, and comment.
Yeah. Thank you.
And see you guys.
See you later.
Peace.
Baby,